All right, my brother in arms. This is it. The boss man, I mean, the king, is just through these gates. Man, I am still not used to all this. Kings, castles, and all that. I know most of these guys are knights, born and bred, but me, I've never really stayed in any place long enough to give a damn about who ruled it. Definitely never imagined becoming a knight myself. Till the Crimson Crusade took me in, that is. You were a drifter too, right? Before you joined? Yeah, you were a mercenary, weren't you? Right. I remember the others saying you seemed pretty cold-hearted when you first came to us. You've been through some pretty rough times, haven't you? Listen, forget I brought it up. I gotta go check on something. You had better head in there. King's waiting for you. Good luck, brother knight. How curious. 5 centuries of the bravest, fiercest warriors in all of Rhyme under my charge, and yet the most gifted among them is kneeling before me right now. Rise, Sir Knight. While I appreciate the gesture of loyalty, it is not needed. We kneel to no one, you and I both. Not to Ardania, not to Barbera, not even to the gods themselves. You should know, young man, I intend to do away with such frivolous customs when I return to my seat upon the throne of Stormright. But I did not summon you here to discuss the policies of my new rule. I don't even expect you to pretend to be interested in that, truth be told. No, I summoned you here because I wanted to meet you myself. I am Erinor, King of the Crimson Crusade. And you are the Sir Knight that I've heard so many things about. Each little tidbit has proven to be even more intriguing than the last. Not the least of which, my birds tell me you've gotten quite friendly with my son. And by the look you're wearing now, it must be true. You don't have to panic, lad, it's all right. I'm actually not the least bit surprised he took a liking to you. For as much as the boy blabbered about his love of knights, he never did seem too interested in becoming one himself. I suppose I should have expected this, honestly. In fact, it's quite auspicious, I might say. I wager you are why Eliwood has chosen to sally out with the rest of your company. I did not presume he would leave the castle so readily. Naturally, this changes everything. It's another reason why you're here now, Sir Knight. I have new orders for you, so listen well. The only thing I hate more than being misunderstood is having to repeat myself. Captain Gilliard LeChance, the leader of your company. He was my pupil once. I know him and his tactics better than anyone. Before long, his scouts will find this little fortress of mine, and then he will immediately descend upon our ranks in full force. I want you to return to him, and follow his orders as normal. When your company arrives at the gates, you'll find only the beaten remnants of the warband that fled from today's skirmish. Tired, starving knights, fresh off of a failed raid. Gilliard will be foaming at the mouth to breach the gates. Entry to the keep will not be difficult. Eventually, Gilliard will lead your company here, to this very throne room. At which point, I will emerge, and attempt to explain to my son and to my old friend how these circumstances have come to be. If the stars are right, they'll agree to join us, and we can resolve things peacefully from then on. Unfortunately, I do not have high hopes for that to happen. Gilead is simply too stubborn to turn his coat, even for me, his mentor. And Ellie would. I'll be lucky if I can even get him to listen in the first place. I must assume the worst will happen, that Gilead will order his men to attack and attempt to capture me. I have prepared, heavily, for this outcome. The moment I know their minds are made up to oppose me, I will give the signal to you and to the rest of my knights. That is when you may show your true colors to the Stormright. Blood red for the Crimson Crusade. Gilead and his fellows may prove a worthy match, but he'll be overpowered in the end. The warband which attacked your camp earlier was but a small fraction of my elite army. He'll have no choice but to surrender. If he doesn't rather die fighting, that is. Ah, and I will look to you to pacify my son during this battle as well. Of course, I don't need to tell you I would much rather keep him alive, but don't be afraid to disable a limb or two if he tries to be a prince hero. After all, our wizards make for rather competent healers. There is no damage they cannot undo, by one right or another. And speaking of which, I see you've taken on a few wounds yourself. Your devotion is admirable, Sir Knight. Tell me, do you know why I choose to call our merry band of knights the Crimson Crusade? Crimson, lad. Red, like blood. There is great power in blood. You see, while I was campaigning through the land of barbarians, I ran into a small circle of mages who knew the secrets of unlocking the power hidden within the blood. The power within our very veins, and the veins of others. We got to talking, and rather quickly it turned out our philosophies were marvelously in tune. We struck an accord, and the glory of my shattered army was finally restored in full. It is thanks to the blood that I have been brought back from the edge of oblivion. Not Indra, not Meridia, and certainly not Helio. So know this, Sir Knight, that every drop you bleed, every wound you shed, each mist you splatter, will make you, me, all of us, stronger. Consider this when Gilead LeChance and his pack of blind dogs refuse my charge and take up arms against us, the enlightened ones. You are dismissed. There he is. Finally awake, are we, Sir Knight? Your eyes are open, at least. For all I can tell, you could still be halfway within the dream. I bet you didn't expect to wake up next to your beloved prince, did you, my dear sir? Well, I thought about it, and decided you've earned the chance to look upon this gorgeous face as your first sight of the day. Yes, indeed. Now then. Hop to, sir. Adventure awaits us. And by adventure, I mean share a hot drink by the campfire while we watch the sunrise. Well, we'll tell the others we're keeping watch, but we can do both at once, can't we? It's gotten far too cold overnight to be sitting idle here, just outside of sunlight's reach. What say you, Sir Knight? What's wrong? Did you have a nightmare? You look, well, awful, quite frankly. So pale, and you're burning up. Oh, my darling Sir Knight, you're not sick, are you? Then whatever is the matter? Please, it's all right. Just tell me what's troubling you. Let me help you. Even if you just need someone to listen. You've only ever done right by me. And if something is on your mind, something bothersome that won't go away, then that just won't do at all. Of course, I could order you to tell me, but I don't intend on it. I just want you to know. You can trust me. I promise. As a prince to his loyal and dashing Sir Knight. Oh, Sir Knight, I wish you wouldn't lie to me like that. This is clearly not nothing. I know you far too well to see that you are troubled, perturbed even, I dare say. If you don't want to talk about it, you can just say so. I already told you I wouldn't force you to budge, you stubborn man. I just care about you very much, sir. You've saved my life time and again, and I just want to be there for you, if you'll let me. If you won't, then that's fine. We can just carry on with our duty like normal, and I suppose I'll silently pray you get through it on your own. Just stay with me, all right? That's all I want, Sir Knight. I just want you near. Do you understand? Thank you, dear sir. I know it is your utmost duty to protect me, but it's also my duty to protect you. Please do not forget that, my knight. Good. Now then, there's still time to catch the sunrise, and a good hot bean brew. Seriously, if I do not get a kick soon, I might murder someone just so the adrenaline rush will wake me up a bit. Come along, Sir Knight. Oh? So, you have something to say after all. Come to think of it, I think that may be a first. Then by all means, what is it, darling? Retreat to the castle. Now? But the enemy lies so close along the trail. If we don't close in on them now, who knows when we'll get another chance to bring them retribution for all they've done. Well, yes, I suppose they could be hiding greater numbers, but we just don't know that. Not now, anyway. We must pursue them a little farther, learn everything we can about this wicked Crimson Crusade. Ugh, even their name reeks of vile self-righteousness. No, for what they've done to my house, my kingdom, we must root them out and destroy them. I know their type. They'll just cause more problems for us until we deal with them. I know we lost some shields, decent, good-hearted men, and I know you fought hard in the battle. You even have the scars to show for it. But I'm not turning back. Even if I wanted to, even if I took the whole company back with me, Captain LeChance would press on, alone. Because he is a true knight, through and through, and he knows the consequences of leaving a blow unanswered. I appreciate your counsel, dear sir, and I especially appreciate you are willing to open up about your concerns for a change. I'm just sorry yours is a suggestion I must cast aside, as much as I might value its weight. Don't worry, Sir Knight. If there is another warband of those brutes nearby, or, heavens forbid, an entire army, we'll find out about them long before they can reach us. We've got good ground, and our scouts are the fastest riders to be found in all Ardania. Now, shall we verily make our way outside? Bean brew, dear sir. I require it.
Prince Eliwood, light be with you this morning. Recruit.
Good morning, Captain. Have the scouts returned?
They have, my lord. The enemy have barricaded themselves within Castle Dawnbreak. It's a small fortress to the northwest of here, about a league away.
Oh, I remember that old pile of stones. You're certain it's them?
Reports tell of knights in red patrolling the battlements, my lord. Somewhere around 40 of them. Our men swear it by the Imperium. We found the rat's nest.
Good. Did they get a good look around the place? Anywhere more of them could be hiding in wait for another ambush.
Nothing outside the walls, your highness. Though there could be more of them holed up inside the keep, I suppose. But I don't think that's very likely, my lord. Reports also described the enemy's movements as inattentive and battle-weary from the previous engagement. If they were harboring more of those blood-crazed lunatics, they would have put fresh men on the walls. But it seems as though they had no choice.
So, they're still recovering from last night's battle. Well then, Captain. I suppose that means we ought to make for siege, yes?
I've already sent word back to the castle for the necessary arrangements, your highness. By sunset, a garrison of 300 knights, as well as up to 500 volunteers from our standing army, will arrive to reinforce us. They should be bringing a parade of siege equipment, too. Ladders, catapults. They may even dust off the old trebuchet.
Grand. I'm sure our standing forces will be raring for action.
Oh, they certainly are, my lord. Take it from me. I've given express orders to muster no more than 800 men in total, just in case. We don't need the entire realm rearing their heads for this little one-off conflict.
Well, I agree with that much, Captain. I do sincerely hope that this is a one-off conflict. A war with dissidents is the last thing this kingdom needs.
All the more reason to make haste, my lord. I propose we break camp now and ride out ahead to Castle Dawnbreak. We can find a good, fortifiable position and get set up to accommodate our siege engines when they arrive. We'll crush their little uprising in a single strike and be dining at Stormright Castle by nightfall tomorrow.
Hear, hear, Captain. I personally am rather eager to drown this whole mess in a cask of good wine. Preferably in the company of our daring fellowship, of course. But I shan't get ahead of myself now. Have our sergeants been informed of the situation, Captain?
Yes, my lord. There was rather enough time to tell the whole company before I found you, but we stand ready to mobilize on your word, your highness.
Right. Very good, then. Let it be so. Everyone, it's time to move. Let the thunder of our horses make them fear the lightning strike of House Stormright's justice.
All right, men, you all heard the prince. Break camp and ready the horses. We ride within the hour.
Yes, sir.
Get moving. You, recruit. Got something to add? You seem uneasy. I know that look all too well. You're not getting cold feet, are you? It would be most unbecoming of Prince Eliwood's own bodyguard to shy away from duty now, recruit. You know that.
Come now, Captain. He's only worried for my safety. Isn't it so, Sir Knight? See? Just a little occupational anxiety, Captain, that's all.
Well, I'm not without my own worries for your safety, Prince. After all, you were told to stay within castle grounds until the situation was dealt with. If you would feel safer to ride back home, my lord, I can spare an elite unit to see you there safely, as well as your own personal guard, of course. But you know the effect it'll have on the rest of my men if you leave now.
I know, Captain, and I'll do no such thing. My Sir Knight may have his trepidations, but surely he must also know that for us to turn back now would be a fool's errand.
I thought you might say so, my lord. You're right. We must strike now and strike true. Retreating will only make this conflict unfathomably more complex. So, if you're decided to join us in the assault, then we should waste no more time in idleness. Let's get mounted up and prepare to ride for Castle Dawnbreak.
I couldn't agree more, Captain. Come, Sir Knight. Attend me to my horse. Ah, quite the fine morning for a ride through the meadows, isn't it, Sir Knight? Although, I must admit, this cold is a bit bitter for my taste. But the sun's out, at least. Until those clouds to the west catch up with us. I sincerely hope they do not bring any rainfall. This will be my first siege in the field, and I want the weather to be nice and comfortable. A little cold is fine, but definitely not rain, and for the love of Indra, not mud. I say, Sir Knight, I've been thinking about last night. That dissident who tried to kill me, that heretic. Something he said. I admit I haven't been able to ignore it. He went off on a blasphemous tirade about rejecting the gods. But it isn't that in particular which puts me off balance. It's the way he described his depraved fellows. He made it sound as though slaying them would only make them stronger. Do you think it had any meaning? Or was he simply speaking symbolically, as though the Crimson Crusade is some deluded rebellion that martyrs any fool willing to die for its twisted cause? It's likely all hogwash, isn't it? For some reason, I fear I can't help but suspect the possibility that simply killing them off isn't going to stop them. I just can't imagine why. Or how, I suppose. None of those scoundrels were undead, and we burned all the corpses they left behind. Again, he was likely only trying to unnerve me. I'm not sure what else he could have hoped to achieve, approaching the Prince of Stormright like that. Of course, he didn't see you coming, did he? The fool thought he had me to himself, some dainty little princeling brat left all on his lonesome. And then you leapt up and skewered him, my hero. I wasn't going to let him near me to begin with, but I must admit, you pressing through your wounds to defend me like that was very attractive. If it weren't for the adrenaline I was feeling right then, I might have... We really should save this conversation for a later time. Not that I wouldn't enjoy every moment of it. But Castle Dawnbreak lies close ahead, and we'd be dead in the middle of such an occupying discussion. Best to keep our eyes forward, Fret not, my dear knight. I intend to show you precisely what I'm on about. Only later. First, we must dine on victory. Then we'll celebrate with our little chat.